Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bronze Age Monsters, the show where we wade into the weirdest and wildest waters of the comic books of the 1970s. This season on B.A.M, we're covering the brief life of Atlas Seaboard Comics, the publishing venture of Martin Goodman that some say was a middle finger to Marvel and Stan Lee. Revenge is a dish best served in 4 colors. I'm Matt Howell.
I'm Jacob Malcolm.
Thank you for joining us this week, everybody. Hopefully there's some folks here in the live. So Jacob, live.
Yes.
We were just saying before we went live here that we have not done this since, I think, Police Action back in June.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. So I'm excited. We got all of our tech issues solved. So probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but it's going to be fine. It's totally going to be fine. This is exciting.
Jinx, 1, 2,
I love.
3.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. So no, this is we love our live shows and love hanging out with everybody. So yeah, this is exciting.
Cool. So Jacob also just pointed out to me that I did not share the ballot for voting for the season. So I will be doing that ASAP. Hey there. Hi. Some folks are saying hi. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
So I was thinking, Jacob, maybe we could refine it though. What if maybe, since there's going to be like 26 or something, I think, ranking, if people want to try and guess our top 5 and bottom 5, maybe if people guess those correctly, there could be prizes or something like that, because it's insane to expect people to guess all of those, right? That's
so
too much.
so you want that, and these aren't people ranking their 5. What we're doing is what they guess our 5 is. Should we make those 2 separate things?
I was hoping I want to hear people's opinions. Like you already have the ballot you showed me. I want to have that, but then I also want to have people, if people want to, guess what our top 5 are.
Okay.
And our bottom 5 in their order.
Okay.
Like dead last, garbage. Why wasn't this a hit? Top 5.
Awesome. No, that sounds great.
Hey, Ben, thanks for joining us.
Ben.
Very cool. Okay, so you can refine that, and then I'll publish it. We have a few episodes left. We still have Hands of the Dragon. We still have Blazing Combat. We still have
Western.
The Western comic, and then we have Demon Hunter. Hopefully, some special guests. We already have some guests lined up. I did think it was funny that we have guests for almost the entire run back into the season, except for Blazing Combat. Nobody wanted to do a World War II comic.
Well, we already talked about how much we liked Sergeant Stryker, and we can do that. So that's the last hurrah that you and I have.
Solo.
Yeah, solo until the finale.
Our guest is raising his hand in the green room, so at least there was somebody who would be willing to talk about World War II comics with us. So I guess the ballot's really the only thing to talk about, right?
I think so, yeah. So I put together a little Google form, and I'm going to have all the comics listed. And if you wanted to rank them, I would prefer you only do 5. Do as many as you like. But I would prefer, as someone who's going to be compiling this, that you choose your top 5. And I'm really excited to see what everyone's going to vote on.
Me too. I'm excited. And the end of the season this year, I've actually got the last 4 comics lined up behind me, like I feel like I'm in prison, just kind of chipping away on the wall of like my days left before I'm free to do something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but that'll be nice. Cool. So we are here to talk about the Barbarians, which was a one and done thing. And we invited a friend of mine on that I think we should bring in. You ready, Jacob?
Yeah, let's bring him in.
All right, we're going to talk to John Morgan. Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this. So I was telling Jacob when I told him you were going to be our guest that you were a guy that I met through a friend of a friend that I met through Comics Message Board, Dave Jordan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you came up here to Portland for the Rose City Comic Con probably around 2014, 2015. And we kind of just stayed in touch. I think you came 2 years in a row, and we've just been friends ever since. And whenever you're in town, we hang out, and I think you're adorable.
I think you're the cutest one in town, frankly. So I would make time for you.
And you have a lovely wife, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So tell the people a little bit about your exposure, if any, to Atlas Seaboard. Like, if you knew of it before this, and what your thoughts are so far.
Oh, sure. So when it comes to Atlas, I knew nothing at all about Atlas. But what's interesting is that I have always been super fascinated by attempts at dethroning the big two, at establishing a new mainstream. Like when I was like a kid, there was First Comics, which had things like American Flag, and what is the other big one? The one that Ostringer did. Grimjack, that was like another one, right? Like, and then you had like Eclipse that had like Scout, and then you had Comico, which had like Grendel and Elementals, and it kind of goes throughout. You'll see these like attempts at like new companies coming in and being like, the big two or nothing, we got this. Like, and some of them were better at it than others. I mean, like Oni was another one that kind of happened in like the 90s, where they definitely were attempting. They were like, Queen and Country, everybody loves spies. Like, why don't we do a spy comic? You know what I mean? Like, and then it doesn't
White out.
well.
Yeah,
right, exactly right. Like, and so like there's these attempts at establishing and saying like it can be a new mainstream. It doesn't have to be these capes dudes, but they frequently do fall down. And I didn't know about Atlas. Atlas was an early version of this in the 70s to come forward and be like, forget this big two thing. Like we're the ones. And it's been fun to and deeply depressing to follow along with you guys. Like I've seen Target, I've seen Wolf, I've seen Scorpion, like those ones I've seen so far. And like in each case, and actually including Ironjaw, like they started with a premise and then slowly, actually not that slowly, very quickly actually, like they start to lose the premise and start immediately shifting creative vision in a way that like slides it the fuck off its origin space. Like, and it is super interesting to watch them fumble with these original properties and not even able to maintain them for 12 issues.
Yeah, we call that Friedriching.
Yeah. But yeah, you're
right.
Friedrich
takes over this one. But it keeps happening like again and again. Like Ironjaw is a great example of it.
What were you going to say, Jacob?
Oh, I was just going to say I didn't think about that in a way that this is the most extreme example of veering from your 100%. Starting point and mission statement. And again, like we've never heard of someone doing that before sales figures are in, which is what a bizarre way to run a comic company.
What's the phrase? They do not have the courage of their convictions. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you feel like do the kids like it? I don't know if the kids like it. Let's try something else. Like, you know what I mean? Like which is unfortunate because I feel like for many of them, they like, at least in the case, Wolf is amazing. I have order envy for Wolf. Like, like the first two issues, I'm like, oh, I'm down for this. I could have read this for like multiple issues.
Yeah.
And even Ironjaw had a premise. It just couldn't maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're going to see very soon here in a few minutes, complete 180 on the character and attempt to right the ship into a more palatable main character.
Right, yeah.
Probably going to be the anchor of the book. So, again, the courage of the convictions. Fleischer came in, created a character that was not very likable and whatever, and then they just kind of said, let's make him soft and palatable.
Right.
Yeah.
Which for someone who's read them all together in a row, like I did, it's wild. Like the shift is intense.
Well, so remind me, Matt. So this issue is published between issue 3 and 4 of Ironjaw, if I'm correct.
I didn't know that. I think you're right.
I think that's what I read in the CBA. But Fleischer stayed. Is it Fleischer or Friedrich that did issue 4?
I thought
I can't Fleischer. Oh no, Friedrich. It's Friedrich that does issue 4.
Okay, that makes more sense because that would kind of keep the shift at least moving in a consistent way, which is rare for Atlas. So
didn't Marcos do the art for 4 also?
Yeah, Marcos did the art for 2, 3, and 4. I thought. Didn't you do most
2,
of
3,
them?
4, and Barbarians.
Barbarians, yeah.
Okay. So before we dive in, John, we always like to get to know our guests a little bit as comics readers. So what's your origin story as a comics fan?
My origin story as a comics fan is intense. So the thing is I was brought up overseas, right? And my brother would actually teach me to read through Pogo comics. So there were collections of Walt Kelly's Fogo that my father had kept, and my brother would laugh at them and then teach me to read with them. He'd be like, Fogo says this, and Albert the Alligator says this. And then my father left the military, and we ended up in Berkeley for a while. And I ended up reading Asterix and Tintin. Actually, I ended up reading Asterix and Tintin before I could read. Once again, with my brother kind of pointing over my shoulder and being like, no, they say this, and they say this. And then my father, and all the time, there's also spinner rack stuff coming through, it should be noted. It isn't just like sort of high-end things. It's also like Marvel and DC. I had a crush on, Kitty Pryde like everybody else did of my age grunge.
Yep.
Like, and and Batgirl too. And then we went overseas to Japan when my father went back into the military, and I came across manga in the 80s. So I was seeing like Fist of the North Star coming out of the weekly comics there. And like, just kind of like, what is this? And like my friends who were Japanese would be like, oh, he says this, like he says, you are already dead. And then, and so once again, I'm reading comics because I can't read Japanese, but I'm reading comics without being able to read them. And then we shift back to the United States, and by then it's the 80s. And by then you have this incredible shift in American comics, where you have Dark Knight and you have Watchmen. And at some point in the 8th grade, someone made a huge mistake, although beneficial to me, and gave me copies of Love and Rockets. And that was at a stage where most people start dropping comics, right? Like they're like, oh, I don't need comics anymore. There's girls now. But if you are an 8th grader who came across Love and Rockets is better than anything on TV. It's better than any of the books you're reading, probably, because I was reading Pierce Anthony at that point. Better than anything I was reading. You know what I mean? Like, better than anything I was seeing in the movie theater. So, like, at that point, I would never have abandoned comics, because comics at that point was better than everything else in my world. And so, so at that point, I'm reading Klaus, I'm reading Bag, you know what I mean? Like, and all of that starts to shift. And so, like, and then, I get back to Japan and back and forth. But, like, that definitely put me in position where it was this, like, comics are there for discovery. Comics are there to learn new things. Comics are there to show you new worlds, is something I inherently believe. Like, I believe, like, you will discover new worlds, new countries, new cultures, new concepts through comics, if you are paying attention. And
That's
so,
cool.
yeah.
I love that. I love that for you. No, that's awesome. That is a very unique origin story.
Yeah, definitely.
And your Love and Rockets love that's it's persist till today, huh? I mean,
To this very day, I still read them. And actually, I've met Gilbert and I've met Jaime, although it was kind of like meeting your gods, and your gods being human beings, is deeply disappointing how ordinary they were.
Yeah.
For basically, I mean, I'm like, basically, like, I stopped reading science fiction because of you fuckers. I started reading, like, watching independent movies because of you.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like, you know what I mean? Because they're just guys. They're just guys. But like, but they shifted my whole concept of art, like, when I was in 8th grade. So to me, they're like godlike figures.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Yeah. So you were on another podcast I did called That's Cool, That's Trash, where we talked about some really garbage movies. And it was funny to have you on there because you have incredibly good taste in all arts. So it was funny to make you swim in the muck a little bit with me.
I thought it was grand. I thought I had a great time.
So this seemed like a funny pairing also, because you don't, when I think Conan or Sword and Sorcery or whatever, I don't think of you first 10 people I think of. So what is your exposure to Sword and Sorcery, fantasy in general, and the macho war side of that stuff?
Right. Yeah, totally. So what do you call it? I've always had, when it comes to comics, I've always had an open door, right? Like, that's always been kind of like, it's the one thing I have a scholar's mind for when it comes to comics. Like, I will read anything, and happily so. When it comes to, like, books, though, like, I will slide off things pretty intensely if I don't immediately jive with the author.
Yeah.
So for fantasy, the fantasy stuff that I've read largely is stuff that is more kind of Baroque. Like for me, fantasy is like the Gorman Gast and the Oz novels. and like Wizard of Earthsea I jibed with. Like, but Conan, I've done Conan, and I've bounced off Moorcock multiple times. I have read Gene Wolfe, and I loved the the New Sun. And actually, while I was reading this, I actually started reading Jack Vance, and actually, I've really been enjoying Jack Vance. He's pretty great. But definitely, like in terms of like hard barbarian, like I'm never going to read with the gore novels, or you know what I mean, like it's what Fritz Lieber. Fritz Lieber, I kind of enjoyed. I did read a few of the was it
Pfeffer and Grey Mouser.
Pfeffer the Grey Mouser, and I definitely read the comics for those. I love the Mignola Chaykin ones.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, like Moorcock, Elric is like the anti-Conan. I mean, I think he's been on record.
Yeah.
I've
read the comics for Elric, and I'll probably go back to Moorcock again. But like, it definitely was one where I was kind of like, this is good, but I don't know if this is for me today.
So you were a good guy, and you decided to read the Ironjaw issues that we reviewed way back, I think, in the first few episodes of the season. What did you think of Ironjaw? Fleischer's Ironjaw specifically.
Fleischer's a super fascinating chap, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel about Fleischer the way Walter and like the Big Lebowski feels about the Nazis. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
not a fan?
No. Like, there's that line he has in the movie where he's like, it's not great, but they have an ethos for God's sake. You know what I mean? Like, and Fleischer does like have you ever read the Spectres?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
I love those Spectres.
The Spectre comics are crazy.
They're awesome,
and you can tell he has kind of a morbid love of cruelty, like that definitely comes through in almost everything. Like in the case of the Spectres, in the case of Jonah Hill, or no, not Jonah Hill,
Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex. And in the case, he did one called, I think, Haywire in the 80s or like early 90s that had like incredible art with like Kyle Baker and I want to say Dick Giordano.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And actually,
totally forgot about that.
And FIFA from Cobra, like 100% sort of pulled like Haywire out of that. Like there's a comic in Cobra, or the character in Cobra who's like a reflection of that.
Yeah, cool.
And the thing is like Fleischer has a morbid love of cruelty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's 100% there in Ironjaw, baby. Like, and you can see it from the get-go. Like, he is, I think also because I was kind of thinking about what do you call it? Like barbarian comics, like, and just apocalyptic comics in general, right? How like sometimes in post-apocalyptic works, there is kind of like a cautionary tale in there. There is an elegiac, like sort of thinking about civilization or a lost civilization. But sometimes there's a fucking morbid love of primitive fucking violence.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and that is like you see that in the readers of The Walking Dead.
Yep.
You see that, and he's like, if just men were men and women were fucking property, baby, this would be fucking spectacular. Like,
and it's not always 100%, a love, right? McCarthy's The Road isn't about the love of that. It's just about the nature of humanity, I think.
Right. No, like The Road is about like this lost. What have we done? Like, what is this lost civilization? What do we leave behind by our actions?
Yeah.
And there's plenty of other works like that, like Nausicaa. Nausicaa is a great far future world post-apocalyptic where like the whole point of it is, what have we done? And like, but in this case, this is much more of a Conan, men, strong men, being on top, might is right, like ladies are there to be taken. And like, so much so that like, what is it in issue 2? He almost rapes his own sister.
Mm-hmm.
Like the character Ironjaw almost rapes his own sister.
Or issue 1, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Issue 1, yeah. And I was just like,
debut issue.
Damn, Fleischer, calm the fuck down. Like, but simultaneously, it is an ethos. Like, so you have these first 3 ones where like you're just watching bad behavior for the love of bad behavior.
Yeah,
and I just feel like I can just imagine him being at the typewriter, being like, that's how it should be.
Just
you know what I mean? Like,
I think Jacob and I postulated that in the Ironjaw episode that possibly this might be a reaction to the start of Women's Lib. And if that's the case, then there's a lot of
Yeah.
echoes right now, this post-Me Too movement where this manosphere thing has come about and this trad wife horseshit and all this stuff. I think that's also, we're kind of in that same moment where it's like, I don't know.
Well, it seemed like his novel too, the one that we've read about, you know, seems to be kind of his most misogynist and creepy sex violence.
Did he have a
thing.
novel? I didn't know he had a
Yeah,
novel.
it's called Chasing Harry, I believe. Hairy. And
Pretty
it's
infamous.
Really? That's
Yeah.
fascinating. You know, he actually for a second there went over to the UK and tried to do some work for one of the publishers there, and they chucked him really quickly.
You know,
Well,
honestly,
like, instead of notoriously so.
when I read about Chasing Harry and that was such a whatever kind of reviled thing, and we were talking about Iron Jaw, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to get it from archive.org. I'm going to read it. And the more I read about it, I was like, I don't think I can read this. Like, just reading a synopsis, I was like, this is so violently misogynist that it seems like something that like Kevin Spacey's character in Seven would write down in a notebook. Like it
Right,
seems psychopathic.
Right, but there is also that element in the case of like Conan, although in that case, because there's like in this case, this is like far future fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of like Conan, it's like prehistory fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, but that sensation of kind of like, you know, like back in those days, men were men, and you could tell someone who was like civilization they feel like is being betrayed by civilization, like kind of gets their teeth into that.
Yeah.
Although I don't remember reading like Robert E. Howard and being like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like I do when I was reading Iron Jaw a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly. Are you ready to check up with our friend Iron Jaw?
Let's go in. Let's go see how he's.
Right.
Let's go see a whole new Iron Jaw.
Yeah. Okay, so this issue was on the stands on April 15th. It's got a cover date of June of 1975, and it's by Rich Buckler and Al Milgrom. And I'm a fan of this cover. So what we see here, for you folks who are just listening later, we have a white background. There's some mountainous rock there in part of it, and a lot of action is going on. So we have Iron Jaw, he's on his unicorn battlecorn steed, and there's a bunch of orange skinned mutants attacking him. He's thwacking one on the back of the head. He's swinging his axe, and then there's an orange skinned queen in the background pointing and directing her mutants to attack. And there's a lot going on, but this one doesn't feel crazy busy, like in a negative way. It feels busy in a fun way to me, and my eye just kind of goes from the queen to Iron Jaw down and just kind of goes clockwise motion, and it feels sound and complete to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's wonderful. You know, I wish the first issue thing wasn't there down at the bottom, but you know what makes up for that is just the set of legs we have on the left hand side of just someone that is just being thrown off cover. And that's the kind of action I like to see, off cover action.
I did not actually notice that.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either.
I'm embarrassed. Wow. John, what are your thoughts on this cover?
The cover is like, you know, honestly, like is pretty grand. And like you said, I feel like it's just a fairly standard like guy getting into the mix of it. But I do like Buckler. Like I've liked him in other things too. And I didn't notice the legs flying off the corner, which is pretty hysterical.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And remember, Barbarians, TM, guys.
Yeah, and there's technically a tiny "the" that's very hard to see, but it's the Barbarians.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
wow.
Barbarians.
Yeah, little
Okay.
red circle. TM. Yep.
Yep.
So again, we think it's weird constantly that they make these moves without data, John. Like you were saying, like they don't have sales figures for almost any of this stuff.
Right. They like this is essentially kind of issue 5, as far as like we know, or potentially issue 3.5. You know what I mean? Like because I didn't realize that it was in between.
Go ahead, Jacob.
I don't know. I feel like at this point, like people aren't being like, okay, well, we're gonna wait till sales figures come in. This is just Martin Goodman. Like Martin Goodman is just driving everything.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, money, sales, anything doesn't matter. It's just his whims. And remember, like he everything was cool, and then he's like, no, it has to be more like Marvel. Change everything. And then they're like, okay, we're changing everything. And then Martin Goodman goes to Florida. He comes back and he's like, I hate all of it. Fire everybody. And so this whole, I mean, this has been the theme of the whole season, that Atlas Seaboard just exists on the whims of kind of a crazy old fella.
Angry.
Right.
Yeah.
How old was, actually, you can answer this. How old was Goodman when he was doing all of this?
I mean, he's probably in his 70s.
Because he started.
Yeah.
Right. Like the,
I think he's
really...
He's born around the turn of the century. I don't know. He's probably born. Yeah, I bet he's 70 right now.
Which is like a strange choice for like, we're going to make a whole new comic world.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it kind of like edgy. Because 71s, you know, also aren't necessarily known for their edginess.
Well, that was not him, though. So that was Jeff Roven. He hired a 22-year-old Jeff Roven to lead this whole thing. And that was Roven's push, was he wanted something more sophisticated, more mature. He wanted to push back against the code. He wanted to pay artists more. That was all Roven's doing. So Martin got the checkbook out and picked this kid to do this. And so all that stuff
sense.
you're talking about is a young guy, a young man.
And then the old man comes back into the office and like, what have you done? You know, like
yeah. There's plenty of anecdotes about him coming in and looking at art and just throwing it across the room and saying, "What the fuck is this? Like, this is garbage."
Revenge Inc.
Yeah, Revenge Inc.
Yeah.
All right, should we press on?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we've our opening page title is The Mountain of Mutants. Our cast of creators are writer Gary Friedrich. Weird this says editor next. Editor Larry Lieber, artist Pablo Marcos, letterer Shelley Lefferman. And I mean, Gary Friedrich is the guy that just comes in on goddamn almost every book. Every book that lasts more than 2 issues, Friedrich's gonna write the last one. I mean, very few exceptions so far, right, Matt?
Oh yeah, very few.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 1 or 2, but I guess Ironjaw, the original title, being one of them. But no, you were saying that Friedrich did write issue 4. That's right. Okay, so and Friedrich, we're as we're kind of talking about, Friedrich is responsible for the kinder, softer Ironjaw that we're gonna see here. But man, seeing Pablo Marcos art, I'm never gonna complain about that. Even though it's so weird, I guess the majority of his stuff that I've ever seen has always been in black and white, and so it's strange. The color is strange.
Yeah, like because he did Conan, right?
Yeah, he did
he did a lot of stuff, but the most, Tales of the Zombie, like all sorts of this stuff the stuff I'm most familiar with, he's done in black and white. So I love the art, but it took me a little bit to like refocus my brain and just being like, okay, this is different. But of course, I was thrilled to have Pablo on this issue. And
sorry. I was
go ahead.
I agree with you 100%, Jacob. I think his art doesn't need color for the most part. So it took some reconfiguring of my brain wiring as well to like just adapt to that. And then as we're going to see through here also, being murdered with word balloons does not help Pablo Marcos.
No, it doesn't. Even this narration is too long, man. And I love to read opening narrations, but it's basically, thousands of years in the future, atomic war ravaged planet Earth. We've seen all of this from the beginning. And and then we have Ironjaw, who is a barbarian recently crowned the king of a land rightfully his, only to abdicate his battle-won throne in search of which is his life's blood, the savage sting of battle. It says, and it is battle which awaits him as he spurs his mighty steed upward toward the cloud-covered summit of the Mountain of Mutants. And so, we have this. I really like that bottom panel. I think it's really awesome. It's very just like pulp and cool. And you got the title, Mountain of Mutants. And then,
Mountain of Mutants.
Yeah, he is beset by mutants who is just like, it's one of them. Seize him. The chief will reward us handsomely for his scalp. And then, of course, they're just like, wait, the reward's just for hair. So there's no need to burden ourselves with his body. Slay him. That line has been said so many times. We're just like, scalp. And they're like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. Why do you have to carry the whole body?
Yeah, exactly. It's like everyone but Glanton and his gang have figured that out at this point. But so I love this. I love that I always forget he rides a unicorn. That's just a straight up unicorn.
My only note for this page.
I feel about Ironjaw like a lot of the times, like because I was like, sort of like researching like far future fantasy, right? And part of the reason that people do far future fantasy is the fact that like you can throw in crazy shit, right? Like you can throw in like mechanical arms and things of that nature, and like spaceships in the background at weird moments. They're like, no, just a unicorn. We're going to go straight up, like 100% fantasy on this.
Yep.
I love it.
It could have been a robot unicorn. I mean, you know,
It could have been, or
it is. You know, or what, like Thunder the Barbarian rides a weird horse with like 1,000 legs, or like,
yeah.
What do you think about Ben saying about the colorist?
Yeah, Ben Potter says, hey, no colorist mentioned. Do you guys think there's any chance Pablo Marcos got to ink and color himself? I know he inked himself. That's clear. But, you know, Ben, we don't have any colorist credits for almost anything this season. So I would say no. I would say Pablo Marcos sent him black and white art, which he was accustomed to at this point in his career. And it got colored by someone there that is a mystery, who that person is.
Yeah, and that mystery person sometimes does a really great job.
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. It's a little garish here so far for me, but that's, again, I think I'm being sensitive because Pablo Marcos looks so good in black and white that I'm going to be very critical of the coloring.
I never got used to it.
I think artists who come up in black and white, like, 'cause obviously I think he was from Peru, you know what I mean? Like he probably was like 100% black and white, like at that time. And they look awkward in 4-color.
Yeah. It does. It looks really awkward to me. Yeah, I think both of the stories that are in this book should have been in a black and white magazine personally, but you know, so yeah, a battle unicorn. I love it. And yeah, but maybe someday we'll find out who this mystery colorist was, but if it didn't come up in Comic Book Artist number 16, which it didn't, I don't know if it's ever going to be told. Rovin's still around. We should ask him, actually. Moving on.
Let's do it.
Okay, so on the next page, there is just a cacophony of mutants swarming him. And I love that there's this weird note here where he says, what manner of greeting is this to a weary stranger in your land? And I really responded to that as a person who's like huge into mythology and just like ancient cultures, like that kind of like taboo of like, if somebody comes into your land, you have to greet them with this kindness or the gods will punish you for it. I thought that was kind of an interesting note, like a throwback to like ancient Greece.
Take note, America.
Yeah, take note. Exactly. So, you know, he's just saying, by the great machine are your numbers without end. So they just swarms and swarms that are ceaseless. And then he is thrown and he hits his head and is knocked out. We're going to see that he gets knocked out more than a Seamus in a pulp detective novel in this thing. So they decide to
more like Glassjaw, am I right?
Yeah. And then the queen just happens by on her chariot and says, halt. And they say, okay, your majesty, you know, we felled an intruder. One of them, we were about to bring you his hair. They really like his hair. With your permission, we'll finish our task and present the trophy to you. And she says, no, this specimen interests me. And she's very lascivious throughout this whole thing. She's got sexy feels for him. He's somehow different from the others, stronger, much more handsome, and that iron jaw is most intriguing. Keep him alive, mend his wounds, feed him, then bring him to me in my dwelling. So yeah, that's the plan. She wants to have a little fun time with this guy before they make sport of him. And they say, as you wish. And they think he's repulsive, but they agree to follow the queen's orders. It's not for them to question what it is. And besides, in the end, he's going to be killed. So just like all the others that she toys with. So we get a lot of word balloons on this page.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's what I thought you were going to say at the beginning, a cacophony of word balloons.
Yeah.
Because oh yeah, those bottom panels, good God.
You know, absolutely. They're just covering up the art like enormously.
Yeah. That's a sin.
Yeah. Honestly, like I feel like also there's so many shifts like in terms of like motivations in this issue, even though there's only like 10 pages of it. In her case, she's like, I am a lascivious, sexy barbarian queen, and I'm gonna bang the thunder thighs off this man.
Yep.
Right? But simultaneously later she's like, why are you humans so mean to me? And I was doing this to we call it revenge my culture. It's just so like this is not what I'm getting right now. I'm getting I'm like, she's like a Black Widow, and like she's gonna bang him and eat him. Like basically, is the impression I'm getting.
Yeah,
and steal his hair.
I feel like Friedrich is just leaning on like kind of a trope for just fantasy or just like lost civilization stuff, where it's just the sexy Black Widow queen who wants to mate and kill the hero. It's just like pulp kind of convention, right?
Right. Or like, was it H. Rider Haggard's she?
Yeah, she.
Mhm.
But like in that case, like she's gonna mate with that guy forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, it just sounds like she's gonna like grind on him and then toss him into a pit.
Mark says she's a chatty Cathy. She is pretty chatty.
She's pretty chatty.
She is.
All right.
All right, here, let's move on. So
This is
Yeah,
like my favorite page.
it's such a beautiful page, right? I
Beautiful.
love it. And there's a ton of fucking words, but it doesn't quite ruin it. It still is great. It has like, yeah, I love everything about this. You know, the insets are cool, but man, the main illustration is just this giant castle, and they're kind of like right before its stone gates. I thought it was weird. They just they kind of stop him and just kind of talk at him for a while, which I thought they're just like, they just are like, yeah, you're never going to believe this. This is the last thing your hate-filled mind will ever comprehend. You know,
Right.
And he just says a little bit of stuff. They're like, watch your tongue, lest it be plucked from your mouth. And they just keep talking to him. And he's just like, Jesus, just let me in the castle.
They're proud.
Wait, this page is a little small for because I'm doing this on my phone. Can you read that stage where we're gonna pluck your tongue out like a head from a castle?
Yeah, so watch your tongue, lest it be plucked out from your mouth like the head is wrenched from a mountain hen. A mountain hen.
Which doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it does not. But and I like that he's kind of just like he's kind of befuddled by this, and they're just like, silence, Goran. We must remember the queen's command. He is to be delivered to her alive.
Right.
And so, yeah, they're fighting with themselves. They're just yelling at Ironjaw, and then you know, and he's barely saying, "Oh, go on."
No, I just say like you're right. Like, and the fact is, it's like this is also like the first time where we get this idea of like your hate-filled mind. I mean, they're the ones who are trying to steal his hair. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, and
that's what I thought was so funny.
And get his ears fatally banged off his head. You know what I mean? Like, this is the point where they're like, "Aha, you humans!" Which like your hate-filled mind.
Well, they
like,
call
him. What has he done?
Inside, hate monger, we will fetch you when the queen summons. And then, yeah, I like it. So he's quipping a little bit now because he's been yelled at, and he's just like, "Does your queen always afford her guests accommodations of such dazzling luxury?" And then, and then he realized, he's like, "Oh, how could I be so lacking in presence of mind as to be captured by these wretched band of mutants?" And then, you know, and he obviously hasn't seen her, but there is a comely lass in the foreground who is just like, perhaps like me, you have tired of the hateful greed of the civilized world. And I like him. What?
Yeah, like, wait, what are we talking about? Who's talking? Like,
yeah, he didn't notice the hideous swimsuit model just hanging out in a cell.
Yeah, nope.
This is also a big shift here, right? Like, because he's going to see her. And like it'll be like I think the next page it happens.
Yeah, this is the big tonal shift, like you were talking about, John, from the earlier issues. This is it.
So before we leave this page, I just wanted to say also that this page we just talked about was absolutely stunning, like you guys said. I mean, the weird like perspective shift where it's almost like we're in a drone flying over it, where like it doesn't really make sense. It's almost fisheyed in a weird way.
Yeah.
I love that you can see in this, like the Marcos's detail, like his little steed is down there in the bottom left of the page. I love that weird, like I don't know if it's a statue of a bird or an actual bird on top. Like it's just kaleidoscopically cool fantasy stuff.
And it almost like reminds me of like, what is it? The toy for He-Man?
Oh, Castle Grayskull?
This like almost it was Castle Grayskull vibes all around.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. Okay, so we're moving on to the next page, and so Ironjaw has seen this lovely lass here. It's in the prison with him, and what have we here? Perhaps the mutant queen is not so ungracious a host as I presumed, and so he's already grabbing her. Right
immediately,
right out of the gate. He sees her and he grabs her. She says, "I'm but a prisoner like yourself. You are a man, and you may do with me as you wish, for you can heap no further abuse on me than our captors have." And he's like, "Ooh, whoa. Like, the mutants have had their way with you?" And, you know, and she says, "You know, how could they dare?" And she says, "Dare what? Dare do to me the same harm that you yourself were prepared to do more than a moment ago?" And I love this. She says, men, mutants, there really is little difference between them, save for their physical appearance. And so this is like the kind of, after school special, like he's turned the chair around backwards and he's kind of sitting
Right.
down. Let's rap a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit, young lady.
So she curls up in a ball. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
No, I was just saying, like panel to panel, like the shift is so intense. He's like, yeah, girl, come get it. And then he's like, whoa? Yeah, are you not, like, are you not consenting and an adult? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's kind of incredible.
This page's writing is all over the place. So it continues in the bottom left. She curls up in a fetal position, essentially, and says, I was kidnapped by robbers shortly after my birth. I have been little more than the property of men ever since, and I fear I am destined to die in the same service that I have lived, the service of slavery. Forgive me for losing control of my emotions. It is because I have been here for a year with no one to talk to. And then the biggest, brutal, Jacob. And then the biggest switch in the world is like, it is I who must beg your forgiveness.
It's so weird.
I knew not your plight when I first was tossed into this dungeon, but you need fear me no longer. I will be your friend, and I will ask no more than friendship in return. Now come, dry your eyes and tell me more of these mutants, and that I might devise a plan for our escape. So, he has completely done a 180. He's not a rapacious thug anymore. He's been awoken to someone else's suffering, and he's realized, I could be a better man.
Right. And he even has like a little sad face in that. Like he looks distraught. Like, it's like, oh, I had, how sad. I can't even imagine. Like, I feel like the Fleischer Ironjaw like would have already been mid-rape by now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just sort of like, oh, you're a kidnapper. I don't give a, who gives a fuck about that? Like, like considering he almost like raped his sister. Like the, this is a huge shift right now.
Yeah. So that's Friedrich. And again, I don't know what you guys think. We can talk about it at the end or whatever, but like what the thinking was here. But I don't know if they're just trying to make this guy more palatable, if they wanted him to have some legs. But he's basically Alan Alda now.
And I love that he just basically takes sex off the table, which he's swinging wildly to the other side. He's just like, okay, just let me get right out in front of this. We're just going to be friends, okay?
Playing the long game, Jacob.
He is playing the long game.
No, there's nothing you could do that'll make me sleep with you. Nothing.
All right. Okay, next page. So even though it says, so it says long hours later. So, that's a long story because he's still playing the long game, but man, that's a long story for her.
I think it's a whole new I think it's a whole new Ironjaw, frankly. Yep. Like he's just sitting there. He's just tell me more.
Tell me about your day. That's what he's saying.
he's like you are. He's like in between. We're not seeing the panels where it's like you are a strong woman and you have made it so far and you are so brave. Like you have a bright future ahead of you, young lady. Yeah. Not with me because I am. I wouldn't want to
he's
like ruin this moment between us. Like he's become a complete, enormous muscular gentleman.
Yeah. And so she's just saying, and that's all I've been able to see, because after the Great Wars, our people drove the mutants onto this mountain, and they've remained through the centuries, always hating our people, but never strong enough to attack them. I like how angry, at the injustice that Ironjaw has in this.
He's like, bam, banging the fist.
Yeah, banging the fist against the concrete. He's like, but how is this possible? I cannot understand it. How can hatred continue to fester even after thousands of years? Why should we be made to pay for the sins of such distant ancestors? And and then right after that, we get one of the jailers comes in and is like, save your questions for the queen. And he's like, well, what if I don't want to accept her invitation? Then you will doubtless incur her utmost displeasure and die tomorrow in the arena. And I like that he just, I love the crouch and immediate power jump kick to this guy's teeth, which I think is pretty amazing. And he's like, I've been in the arena before. Not once have I been vanquished. And so then, they kind of bear down on him, and then one of them comes from behind
and then knock him out.
They knock him out again.
it is getting like kind of comedic timing, and that he's always like, I'm the strongest, best pout. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like he talks a big game, but he does go down quick.
He does.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, can I just say, like, one of the things I find really fascinating is how much this episode mirrors attempts at movies that are coming out in this era of like the problem with like what do you call it, the injustice toward like Black Americans, because like the hero is like, but we didn't do this, why are you mad at me? Like, you know what I mean?
True.
Like,
It's definitely true.
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, sure, you were enslaved and we took away all your rights and we did red zoning, but I'm nice. It has that kind of, why are you mad? Like, why would you take it out on me? It's like, check your privilege, Iron Jaw. Like, for fuck's sake. You
I
are
would have voted for Obama a third term if I could.
You are complicit, Iron Jaw.
No, not all Iron Jaws, I think, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so our anti-hero is unconscious yet again. Everybody's doing a knockout check. That's 2. So he is taken to see the queen. He's bound with a board behind his head. He's delivered as requested, and they're complaining he attacked us in the cell and tried to escape. You should be warned, he's dangerous. The queen's like, hey, I got this, all right? I can handle him. I'll summon you if I need him. Leave us alone. So they leave her, and she's checking him out. So, my pretty one, you do not wish to do me favors. And she's taking a fancy to him. She's taking a shine to this kid. And hits on him, and he thwacks her with the board that's behind him. He says, nor can you afford to pay for it. Well, I will not look upon a face so hideous as yours, much less touch your decaying flesh. So stay away from me. And she's angry, of course. Go ahead, John.
I think like we should talk about the way she's being drawn. She's being drawn pretty hot, but then there's this weird kind of texture that's being added onto her.
Like I'm guessing from Peanuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, like essentially, right? Like I'm not sure quite what they're trying to communicate. Like it's like, is he going for her skin is melting, or that she needs a bath? Because it kind of to me looks like she needs a bath, and like I think he'd be fine.
I think Friedrich is thinking that these things are a little more mutated looking and freaky, and I think Marcos is just drawing a pretty queen,
like drawing hot chicks. Like
yeah.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I draw hot women. That's what I do. Like,
yeah, she needs like a third eye or something, or a second nose, right? Like it's not quite coming across the way that I think Friedrich intended it.
Yeah, I just feel like Iron Jaw could fucking I don't think you're for me, I'm like Iron Jaw is protesting far too much. Also, can I just say this board thing doesn't make any sense to me. All you would have to do is lift it over your head.
Oh,
yeah. Like why?
But you have to dislocate your shoulders to get it down in front of you, wouldn't you?
No. Like, this is how your hands go, right? Like I don't see anything that's keeping it there. Like
yeah. Well, yeah. Now that you're saying it, it doesn't make any sense. So the queen is, angry at him. She says, you treat a queen like this, like you would a beast. If it's bestiality you want, that's what you'll receive. You have spurned me as your people have spurned mine for centuries, only because our appearance is different. So she says, your civilization is no better than ours is before the Great War. Then we get this little thing about bigotry and stuff like that, like when men pitted their atomic might against each other for no reason save different political beliefs and different colored skins. So the guards are rushing in at this point. But even that didn't teach you, for those of you who survive continue to hate and lust for that which belongs to others. So he's off to the arena. She's not going to have the sex with him now. She's just going to have him make sport of him.
It's a little high hat for a woman who is like, I am going to grind you to die. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then she's like, no, racial injustice, you piece of shit. How dare you?
Yeah.
Maybe she's feeling defensive. I don't know. Maybe she's feeling defensive.
It's all over the place.
I think it's all over the place.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So on the next page. All right. Then we get, so they're a little more familiar now. So yes, they're reclining, arms around each other. It says hours later after a long sleepless night. And then
we can kind of like assume a couple of things.
We can kind of assume a few things of that because she's already told her 4-hour long story. So
right, I'm assuming they're not just friends anymore.
Yeah, they're not just friends anymore. And yeah, so basically this is this girl, she's never given a name, correct?
Nope.
Okay. We should just point that out as of this. All my notes is just like the girl, the woman. Yeah. And yeah, so she's basically saying like, well, you know, do the queen's bidding. You just need to ask, and she's going to spare you. Like, it's no big deal. He says, I am Iron Jaw.
Like, you could do that. Come on, man.
Yeah, he is. She does. And then
Fucking
he's like,
put out.
well, I was born a king, and so shall I die. And then, you know, they come back in to get him, and again, she's just like, no, Iron Jaw, please. Oh, but first, yeah, they're like, okay, stand your ground. Will you die here and now? And then they're like, no, bring the girl. The queen has decreed that she die first. And then, of course, no, Iron Jaw, you can save us. Forget your pride. You need only speak to the queen. But he's like, no. I got this figured out.
Not feeling it.
Like, don't worry, I got it figured out. So, yeah. And then he's like, well, this is to be my final day on this desolate planet. Then my last view of it will be from my feet, and not from my knees beneath before the queen of an inferior race. Why do you have to take it there?
Well, and also it's kind of a double entendre, if you know what I mean. Like, it's kind of
yeah.
I feel like the girl should have screamed, "Just put out, for God's sakes!" And like, but no, not happening.
Yeah, no, not happening at all. And then suddenly, after a short but hopeless walk, and then surprise, Mongrel, the girl lives, and you only have to walk to the middle of the arena to save her. He's like, wait, you said she was going to be executed. And he's like, no, but only if you cannot prove the superiority of your race by rescuing her. And gauntlet is thrown to you in the arena, and may you never leave it alive. Yeah, a lot of race stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot. Yeah. Again, just what we're seeing right here on the screen. I mean, so much dialogue. It's just my main beef with the story. Even just the weird character shift and stuff like that, I have less of an issue with. It's just the fact that, like, and maybe this is because it was forced to be 10 pages. Maybe this could have been a 20-page story and kind of decompress and just breathe a little bit.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
But you're right, Matt. It's every page.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah,
like at this point in reading it the first time through, I was like, like I'd stop and go get a cup of coffee just to kind of like give myself a break from word balloon fatigue.
Yeah.
Okay, pressing on.
Yep.
So we get kind of a weird like pseudo triptych. Like this seems like it would be one vista divided into 3 panels, but it's not, because he starts off in the foreground and he grabs that knife out of that guard's thing. He's like, it's a token weapon, and he grabs it from him and says, you're a careless one. And then we see him off in the distance. So it's like the camera's almost shifted like 90 degrees or something like that. They're saying, stop him, he stole my knife from me, and he's charging towards her. He says, but of course, I was told to rescue the young wench. Young wench? Like what? Alan.
Right? On, like what? Weren't they friends now? Weren't they friends with benefits now?
Didn't you make her banana bread and like knit a sweater with her? Like now you're like wench?
Yeah.
You could. I feel like he should know her name by now. I mean, you know.
He should have asked at this point, I think, in the relationship.
Right, at this point, like.
So he's like saying, how else could I quickly loose her bonds? And the queen says, you know what, stand back. Let him keep his puny weapon. We all know it will be of little use to him. And so she's saying, no, Ironjaw, go back. Run for your own freedom. If you try to save me, we're both doomed. So she's selflessly saying, let me die, I guess. Yeah. And so, he's gapping. Everybody has to gap every time they do anything in here. Mm-hmm. So he's blah, blah, blah. The only certain doom is when your heart ceases to beat. He's got a whole soliloquy going on.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
He's like, look out behind you. And then we see there is his Goliath, his version of Goliath. Like, by the stars, never have I faced so awesome a foe, nor will you again. So he's got this huge weapon. He's this huge guy, and he's like, then our destinies are different, monstrous one, for mine is going to be to survive. So he starts swinging this huge thing. There's little nobility in such destiny, Iron Mouth, but that is of no consequence. For the next few moments, the days of both a woman, and yourself will be ended by my hand. And he says, if that's so, then act, Behemoth, lest your lips serve to betray you. So the big showdown's finally happening, and it's all word diarrhea.
Yep. It's the big word balloon. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. Well, let's see. Will it change the next page? Oh no.
No.
So
I think about like if someone had actually filmed this, how like just mind-numbingly rough it would be. Like like if there was like an action scene in a movie and they were talking this much, it
oh
would
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
it would be so painful.
It's like
No.
that. It's like Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics, right? Where it's just like comics time. It breaks comics time even, where it's like,
Right, right,
there's
right.
one panel, one moment in time, but a conversation is happening across in this instant. Like, this is like that to the nth degree. It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, the fray goes on, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of Ironjaw thinking, weirdly enough,
Yeah.
to where it's just like, but and he suddenly remembers some pseudo lesson that he had learned earlier in his life, to where he's just like, oh yeah, Tarlock said, no matter how superior the foe is in size and speed, the better mind will prove the victor. And so, but his plan is he's just taunting him to get him so angry. I don't know. And he's just like, yeah, that was a most feeble attack, my foe. Surely your people's best can fare better against the lowly likes of me. And then, yeah, his foe gets really angry and it's like, you boast well and swing a strong mace, but it's your tongue which has already decided our battle. Oh, sorry, that was Ironjaw saying that. And then he goes and does a knee thigh kick. Is his
He's response. Going for the knees a lot.
Yeah,
I feel like as a middle-aged man, I'm like, oh, man, that's rough.
Yeah.
it's true.
Those joints are rough, man.
Yeah, so he does the first one in that panel, and then in the subsequent panel, he gets the other knee. So you're right. He's it's a good plan, especially large
really
guys like that. Andre the Giant guys. Yeah, their knees.
Right.
They're not great.
Take his ACL out.
Yeah, exactly. And so then, yeah, a couple knee shots and he's down. So the battle is ended for some reason. And
because those really hurt,
It really hurts. So he can't get up. He's down. And then he's like, what say you, Queen of Mutants? Has your warrior fought well enough in defeat, or shall I slit his throat? You tell me, since you are so concerned with man's inhumanity to man.
Ooh.
Yeah, think about it. Yeah.
Well, he's also a teacher.
Yep.
He's a barbarian,
also a
a
teacher.
king,
He's a philosopher.
a rapist, and a philosopher. So, all right. So, yeah, and on this last page here, it says much later. A lot of much laters in here. Again, just the storytelling is really weird. Following the queen's decision and a hearty feast, so he missed the whole celebratory, like, hey, we're all friends now feast.
Yeah.
I thank you once more, Ironjaw, for showing mercy to my companion, and for proving my thoughts on your race narrow. Perhaps at some time in the future, things can change between our people. And he iron kisses her hand, says, perhaps, your majesty, I must offer thanks to you and your people for your hospitality and for opening my own far too long blind eyes to the fact that all of us are men, regardless of our appearance. One day, all mankind will stand in your debt, as do I at this moment. And then he says, and to you, Jiro. I feel like we missed some stuff. Like
for sure.
We missed 2 pages, two important pages.
Yeah.
To you, Jiro, you are a foe more worthy than any I have ever faced. He says, and I must say the same to you. I only pray to the great machine sees fit that if we should fight again, it will be on the same side. And then we get this nice long panel here where they're riding down off of the mountain, and he has the girl with them, the wench, sorry. The final
By the way,
farewells are spoken.
Jiro gets a name. The giant, the giant
Yeah,
mutant.
he gets a name.
Jiro gets a name.
He gets new kneecaps too. It is still.
He's going to need a lot of rehab.
Yes.
He says it's still difficult for me to comprehend how I could have been so wrong about a people. Again, this is just not Ironjaw. And it will be even more difficult to convince others. That must be your quest to make peace between the two races, says the girl. Yes, so it shall. Perhaps this day, for the first time, I am truly a civilized man.
What the fuck?
The beginning?
Yes. The beginning?
The beginning?
Do we want to do thoughts at the end or after each story? Should we save it?
Yeah, let's save it.
Okay.
Okay.
So before we jump in here, as we were talking online before we started streaming, Jacob figured out already, knowing me, that I got completely obsessed with this next story here. Did a pretty deep dive. So this first appeared in the German comics magazine Primo. It was issue 27 of the 1973 volume. And so this character was created by Miguel Couso, and he was who was the uncle of the artist. So Jordi Burnett is his actual name is Couso also. So his uncle created this character, and the artist worked with him. And this story we're going to see was written by Peter Weichmann. And this had a short run. I think ran for a couple years in this magazine. And this is a magazine that I often say on the show, I wish we had more stuff like this. Japan has these things. Lots of European countries have them. There are these anthology books, similar like heavy metal, but they'll have humor stuff in them. They'll have serialized stories. There's one and done stories, different creators, different artists. And I just feel like if these were around and these were in our Krogers and in our Safeways, there'd be more comics readers in the world. People would pick it up and say, I love this funny stuff. I'll also read this sci-fi story. I love sci-fi stuff. I'm also reading this humor thing, like just all different types of art and different artists. I think it would be much better for the medium if we had this, and I wish there was an appetite for it in the publishing world.
Agreed.
So I found out that this was, like I said, it was in German language primarily, although he's a Spanish artist. These have been collected in an Italian edition, which I'm trying to hunt down now. I think 3 volumes. So if you just use Google Translate on your phone and turn the camera feature on, you can just hold your phone over these word balloons and read foreign comics now. It's fucking amazing. My favorite part about AI so far is that fact that you can do that feature now and read comics from anywhere in the world and have access to them. So I got really into ANDRAX. So yeah, and I also have some black and white art. If Jacob wants to pull it up at any point in time, if you remind me, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Cool.
Hey, Jackson.
Yeah, good to see you, Jackson. Thanks for coming on. All right, well, yeah, let's jump in. ANDRAX. So, okay, I thought it was funny though, because the one like kind of credit we get down there is for the publisher and the art house, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, art agency.
The art
agency. When I looked it up.
Yeah. Weird that's the credit. I wonder why that is. It seems like there's a reason for that.
It's kind of fucking offensive, honestly.
It is.
Totally
That's why I was just like, why? It makes no sense. But yeah. Anyhow, so okay, this is a manageable.
This was actually, can I say, a pretty big reveal for me. Like when I was reading this, and I was like, this art is really good. Who is this Brandon guy?
Yeah.
And then I find out it's Jordi Burnett. Like who has, I mean, like Torpedo is fairly famous in the world.
Yeah, Torpedo's
He's
big.
done lots of work for like, DC. And yeah, the fact that like
Palmiotti and Grace, Jonah Hex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, the fact that like it just it's Brandon, his art agency is crazy.
Yeah, it sucks. But okay, so yeah, we open on the Olympics. The opening narration says tension mounts in Montreal as the 1976 Olympics. A world desperately in need of a hero has perhaps found their man. So we're introduced to our main character. His name is Michael Rush, a brilliant decathlon contestant now competing in the javelin throw. Instantaneously, as the javelin arcs above the field of honor, the excitement and tension explode into thunderous applause. The world has found its champion. Yet just as quickly, our present-day world will lose this hero, ANDRAX.
Dun, dun, dun.
So
already, when I was just looking at those 3 opening panels, I'm like, fuck yes, this is great. I love this art already.
Right.
So one thing, guys, I did do a little preview. He is not called Michael Rush like anywhere else. That was something that they just did for this. His name is ANDRAX in the book. So I don't know if that's because somebody in New York's Atlas Seaboard office was like, that sounds too foreign. We want people to like this guy, so let's give him an anglicized name.
I'm assuming that's
right.
That's it.
Anyway,
but yeah, and so we get this kick-ass Olympic stuff above, and then right under ANDRAX it says, but elsewhere at this moment, hard and cold eyes are taking stock of Michael's accomplishments. We see a bearded man who says, amazing, he is indeed the best physical specimen I've ever seen. He's the one we need. And we have a woman behind him who says, you've chosen wisely with such as him. Your experiment must succeed. And so, yeah, we know there's some doings transpiring here.
This art, I had to take my jaw off the floor several times throughout this thing.
So cool.
This is trying to think who his influences are. I think he said his Toth and Kubert.
Frank Robbins.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see Frank Robbins.
I think Frank Robbins is in here.
But
Yeah,
Matt,
I
we
definitely see
always
that.
we always say this when we are faced with, you know, European art or European sensibilities in comics, and just realizing how different it is from ours. For you and I, when we run into them, we're always just like, oh, it's kind of a breath of fresh air, because they're not treating you like you're 5.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of just like no, you're reading us. You're a mature person. You can understand stuff. And so, yeah, it's just the art style, just everything is much more. Yeah, it's not telling you exactly what's happening every panel. It's not like, I don't know. It's very refreshing.
I agree 100%, Jacob. Like I read the first page of this before I even dug in. I was like, this is clearly European. Like I just
Yeah.
need to find out what this is so I can get all of it.
Yeah. They're like, you know what's the irony of this all though is that, like, for instance, we have right here Jordy Burnett, right? What I found out is that a lot of their influences are actually American strip comics,
Yep.
because they would actually print like reprints of American strip comics in a way that they weren't reprinting in the States. And so it ended up being like people like Alex Raymond
Mhm.
or like Milton Caniff were actually huge influences on these guys,
You can see it.
but they took it in a very different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And they also like did the sort of over-explaining thing they never did.
Yeah. There's about half as many words, I think, in the we'll look at it towards the end or something like that. We'll get the source.
Yeah.
But so moving on here. So I mean, we move on. This guy here, he's looking at this dude, watching him being get his medal put on him, and he says, "Your confidence in him is appreciated, Natasha, my dear. But that alone shall control the far-flung destiny of man." So he has big plans for this guy, and then we cut to Michael Rush. And the prophecy is about to become fact. And he's being mobbed by all these people. And they're like, hey, give us your autograph, man. Give us your autograph. And they're pulling at his clothes like he's Ringo or something like that. It's just absolute mayhem. And a lot of this stuff, by the way, was not in translation. Like there's a weird point here where they're trying to pull his clothes off his back. And someone says, hey, please, it's for my nephew. My nephew's crippled. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll be a cripple too if I stay around here much longer as he's escaping this mob. That's not in the original Primo story.
I knew it.
At all.
I knew it. I was like, somebody's just making this shit up.
Yeah, I
And
would
they
love
are.
to know who did the translation, who made these choices. Some of the art's altered as well, as we'll see when we look at the original art a little bit. But yeah,
But
so
that's
he
very
escapes.
Battle of the Planets. You know what I mean? Like they would take like Japan, like Japanese animation, and they would just throw on new plot points and new like concepts like over the.
Which
This is very, very, very much of that kind of nature. In that
Which
same
is
time
cheaper,
frame, too.
right? Than paying a translator. If you just
Yeah.
get the original stuff and just dub your own thing over, you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what's his name? Almost like K. Gordon Murray was the guy who imported all the weird Mexican movies in and just dubbed them and ignored the original plot and just like had American actors just make up a whole new story. So all these weird wrestling things, all these weird horror movies that were like matinees for kids. Same thing. Where it's like it's just cheaper just to write a new story. So yeah, Natasha is out there waiting for him, and she says, "Hey, Michael, over here. You'll never escape from that mob on foot. Come on, jump in." And then he says, "What's wrong with Rush? He wouldn't even." No, someone from the crowd says he wouldn't even give me an autograph for my crippled nephew. So yeah, someone really liked that little addition to the story there.
Yeah, but the other person says, shut up about your nephew. He's us. He's our analog in this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. But this was the point in the story where I was like looking at Michael being mobbed, and I was like, "This was black and white." I can tell this was black and white.
Yeah.
So cool. I know. Okay, so so we get to the next page, and Michael's curious. At first he's like, where did I know her from somewhere? Then she's like, no, we've never met, but I've been interested in your body for quite some time now. And I love the narrations, just like, as far from unpleasant conversation, as this far from unpleasant conversation continues, the glitter of the city gives way to the glamour of nature untamed. The glamour of nature. And she's
so unnecessary. So unnecessary.
Yeah. Before you ask any more questions, there is one basic point I've yet to make, as she says, as she pulls the gun out of her purse and says, he's like, fire away, I'm all ears and answers. Then she's like, no, Michael, my dear, I'd rather not fire away, unless, of course, you feel like making unnecessary moves. At first he's like, what are you, some kind of nut? And we see the helicopter bearing down. And then I like that he says, listen, baby, next time you try to get the drop on an expert tumbler, I'd suggest you don't stand so close. And so, he disarms her using Olympic prowess, which I always love.
I think also he was not a tumbler, wasn't he? Just like a
he was not.
I
don't know if
he was a field and track man.
Yeah, tumbling isn't part of a decathlon last time I checked, but he has many talents, many Olympic talents.
He's a genius level athlete, I guess.
He is.
So again, just more absolutely stunning art. I see some Toth in this. Like, I absolutely love it. I could not get enough of this. So he realizes something's in the works here. He starts splinting a copter too, whatever that dame is into. She's not alone. They say, give it up, Rush. You may be fast, but you ain't outrunning us. And they shoot some gas pellets, and they knock him out. Can't see. And he collapses. And so Natasha's watching as the men collect his body and saying, easy, boys. Try not to bruise him. He's a valuable specimen, and we've got a great future planned for him. And then we flash forward to the bottom of the page, and we see him in a weird tighty-dighty diaper kind of thing strapped to a table as he's waking up. And they say, no, you mustn't fight the straps, Mr. Rush. You'll only injure yourself, and we can't have that. You must be in perfect shape for the trials that lie ahead. And then Natasha says, all is in readiness, Doctor. Now we only need the subject. Michael says, subject? Trial? Wait, just a blasted minute. What are you jokers up to?
I'm assuming the translation, he's saying stuff way cooler than that.
Yeah, I'm assuming. I didn't translate all of it.
No, can I just call attention to the panel at the top that says B.A.M.
B.A.M. But that's rad.
But it's so cool. Like, the art in that is so amazing. I don't know why that one jumped out to me so much, but God, I loved it.
I love it.
Yeah.
This whole sequence is gorgeous, by the way, like in terms of the shifting of perspective.
Yep.
Like, because you have like the helicopter in the background while he's running forward in a very like north by northwest, and then it like overtakes him, and you can see him like in the far background. You know what I mean? Like, it's just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The layouts are gorgeous.
Okay, so next page we get. Yeah, so he's saying, like, haven't you done enough to me? I like how they keep being like, okay, be calm. We're got stuff to do to you, and you need to be calm for this all work. And it's not a
convincing argument, I gotta say.
No, it's not. So he's like, and he's like, okay, well, we're just doing this. We woke you up so to let you look upon my face, the face of the man you shall soon thank for giving you the world. Now, Natasha. And then it says, like, darkness swirls about him, and he's out. And she's like, oh, he will serve you well, Doctor. How effectively he fights the drug. Then I like that he's like, you have not seen the last of me, Michael Rush. We will talk again in another age, another time. And then that's the last thing he hears as he goes. Everything goes black. But I love that everything doesn't go black. It goes to these cool fucking panels.
These are great.
Oh my God, they're amazing. And so first he's just falling into nothingness, but nothingness is the great color choice on this, I will have to say.
Yeah.
But into this like this pink void, and there's all these cool bats being drawn. And I actually like the narration here. It says, time passes like a thread through an infinite needle, swirling, seeking and dragging this man through a nightmare world. And I was just like, oh, that's a cool panel. And then looking to the right, I'm like, oh shit, that's an awesome panel. It's like, that's so good. It says, and it's of the Grim Reaper of Death, who's holding a giant hourglass filled with like pink sand. It says, time is meaningless in the dream of dread, and simultaneously a hideous race continues for days and months and years. And When the dream is over, the race has hardly begun and is instantly forgotten. And so in this tiny little panel at the very end, he's waking up. He's like, "Ooh, it's hard to tell with this mother of a hangover, but I have the feeling I'm still alive."
God damn.
I know. Oh, those panels are so beautiful.
And whoever did the writing for this, the narration writing is superb.
It is.
That makes up for the cripple stuff.
It does. It's really beautiful. It matches those panels. Like it really, really accentuates the panels.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on. So he's starting to get out of the bed. He's like, "Where am I? Oh yeah, now I remember. The girl and that creep of a doctor. Where are they?" And I don't know how he doesn't have atrophied legs, but he's like, "Oh, my legs stiff. Feels like I haven't worked out in 6 months." And it's been longer than 6 months, says the narration. "Oh my God!" And he sees that he has hair down past to his knees. And then a giant projected image of a head pops up as the creepy doctor. And he says, "Welcome to tomorrow, Michael Rush. I told you we would talk again, although by necessity, this must be a rather one-sided conversation." He says, "What have you done to me?" He says, "I recorded this message shortly after you were given the injection, programmed this projection and soundtrack to be activated only by your waking voice." And then he's there shaking his fist. 2,000 years lie behind you, Michael Rush. 2,000 years in which you slept while the world about you became weak and soft, as I predicted it would. It is a world which someone with your physical prowess can easily conquer and rule. I give you this world, and a new name as well. ANDRAX.
Yes.
Don't know why they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because now that I know his name was Andrax, like he's just like, this world belongs to Andrax. Maybe that's what they said in the German.
Yeah. But
again,
also, can I just say, like, for perspective, right?
Yes, sir.
Like, so we have like he like puts Andrax to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just him and the girl. And then what? Like, do they go out to dinner? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it still like he gets older, he dies. There's a small bunker with this like guy being preserved down there.
I'm assuming she kind of
what a
takes care of
depressing
it.
ending.
She takes
Right?
care of it until she dies, and then maybe passes it down. You know, yeah.
Right.
John, have you heard the expression, we plant trees whose shade we will never know? Okay? It's not all about you, man. It's about the future.
It's a very odd garden, is all I'm saying. You like have downstairs, like, have you checked on the athlete downstairs we kidnapped and preserved? Oh no, I haven't done that in days. You're right. I should check. Yeah. I should make sure his nutrients are going.
All right, yeah. Next page, and yeah, he wakes. He's like, "You're a madman. And he's like, "Yes, my Andrax. I told you one day you would thank me, just as I told my fellow scientists that the advance of technology would be the ruin of man." And so okay, they ignored his pleas. So he's like, "So now I strike from beyond the grave. For 2,000 years, men have been weakened by pollution, mutated by radiation. While you," and he's like, shut up, and breaks the giant TV monitor. And he's like, "No, I've got to get a hold of myself." He's like, "Okay, but I love this." So he's a pragmatic man. And so he's like, "Okay, shit, all right, I'm in the future. Look, I just need a shave. I'm just going to give myself a shave. I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to figure this shit out."
Also, I think you should have heard the scientist out. I'll be honest. I feel like it's the equivalent of like throwing away your instruction manual.
Yeah, I know.
Before you use the actual cooker.
Well, there was the thing. He was going to explain what this world is. And so, yeah, but you're right. He destroys the TV. And then as he goes out, he's like, "Shit, what is this world? I have no idea.
What am I supposed to do? Like, it's too late now, kid."
Yeah, and he's still thinking like, this is all a bad dream. If it isn't, I'm just going to have to face what's out there and not let it drive me mad. And so, he's a competitive athlete. There's some pragmatism to him. So he's like, "All right, let's do this." And then, yeah, obviously he's in a giant vault. He takes that door open.
I love the panel all the way on the right. I thought that was gorgeous.
Oh, it's so cool.
That kind of swirl eye, like, yeah.
Yeah, he's going out, and I don't know if this is just like the Wizard of Oz stuff or anything, but he's like, this could still be Canada. Right? I suppose if Canada still exists. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. We were in Montreal. That's right. But then, John, you're right. That panel all the way on the right where he's like, I'm in some sort of castle, hardly the sort of structure one would find in the land to the north. But yeah, he's in a castle, but it's like a Escher castle or something like that, right?
So gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, man. Yeah, I want to live in this world with Michael Rush. Sorry.
Yeah.
ANDRAX.
Sorry.
ANDRAX.
ANDRAX.
Okay, so we're moving on. So great panel of him just standing here almost like half in shadow. It says, suddenly ANDRAX grows silent, wary as a rustling from above grabs his attention. It says, oh my God, is this what that fool meant by mutants? I don't know. Maybe if he didn't smash the recording, we could have heard of the whole.
We would have.
There's probably a lot of information in there. Probably some very important information.
Yeah. There's a swimsuit model factory 5 miles to the west, by the way.
No, too bad he doesn't know it.
Sausage Gravy River is 7 miles to the east. I'm going to get hungry. So he says, back abomination. He's fighting the spider, but verbal threats aren't about to drive the giant arachnid away. ANDRAX is forced into a corner. He's like, looks like I bought it now. And then we have a beautiful sequence here. I mean, just stunning.
This is great.
Jeez.
There's a knight's, suit of armor, and he grabs the sword from it. All right, the odds just rose in my favor. Now that he's armed, he swipes, he knocks some legs off of the spider, and just stunning art.
Yeah, all three of those panels. Goddamn. And I love, I can't say enough stuff about those three panels, especially him. Yeah, just wordless panel of him hacking one of the legs off the spider. Just awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay. Next page. And so he's kind of starting to still figure this stuff out. He's just like, oh, okay. Like, this creature hardly fits into the concept of a weak and strong, or a weak and soft world. Yet it was future men about which that madman spoke, not future beasts. And so again, he probably, like you said, John, shouldn't have thrown away the instruction manual, because he's like, wait a second. And he goes out. And so, he finally finds his way out of the cave. He's blinded by this light. And then he sees this amazing vista. And says his eyes adjust to brightness beyond anything he's ever known. And the first thing he comes out, he's like, what a view. Yet where's the highly advanced?
It's a great view.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that. This is where the kind of weird coloring. I love these psychedelic colors. I don't know. I know they don't serve the image.
No, I like these colors. Honestly, I thought that was like one of the best panels of the comic.
I know, it's so cool. And he's like, yeah. So he's looking for this technological society. He's like, wait, no houses, no people, at least not around here. And if there were any pollution at all, could the sun shine this brightly? So he's trying to figure this stuff out. He's like, that fool was far more than mad not to realize what man might have wiped himself out in a war centuries ago. But I can't be alone. There must be some vestiges of civilization somewhere. And then our final narration says, civilization. Will that word have any meaning 2,000 years from now? ANDRAX will learn the answer to this and much more in his next enthralling adventure, guys.
Oh,
I missed
enthralling.
That. Yeah. Enthralling adventure.
Yep. That's a future word.
I look forward to being enthralled.
Yeah.
So, Jacob, I gather from just what I've read about this a little bit and seen some covers and stuff and art that this is very much like Skull the Slayer. Like there is just a hodgepodge of like Bermuda Triangle, just like everything ends up like Land of the Lost. Like
that's awesome.
It's just like all kinds of weird shit, robots, dinosaurs. Like it gets pretty psychedelic.
What's the reference you just had? What'd you say it was like?
Skull the Slayer. There was this book in the 70s that Marvel did for like 12 issues, Jacob? 8 issues? 8 issues. Called Skull the Slayer. That was about a Vietnam vet who is being transported to answer for some war crimes or something like that. And lands in the Bermuda Triangle and goes back in time with all the people on the plane. And so they're stuck. But there's also like aliens, and it's really weird. Wolfman created the character.
Oh, I like some Wolfman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's worth checking out. It's a trade paperback of the whole run. Unfortunately, he teams up with a Thing and stuff at some point, but
that's like you would in those days.
Like you would. Yep. Would you gents like to see a little bit of the original art?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Let me add some to the mix. Okay, so Yeah, I just have a couple side-by-sides of pages here so you can see the original stuff, and I have a couple details towards the end. But as you can see, this didn't need color. I love
At
the inky
all.
blacks here. This was translated into Italian. That's where I found this. I believe this is a preview of the ones that were published in the last 5 years, the collections. Yeah, all this stuff just looks absolutely gorgeous in black and white. I do like the psychedelic color, like Jacob said, particularly in the future stuff. Yeah, so I think I did translate something for you guys so you can see here. But yeah, there's actually a missing page from the version we saw as well. The story continues on. He fights a pterodactyl that picks him up and throws him down. So that was actually the true ending of the first chapter of his story. But here's some side-by-sides. You can see those sequences there. And as you can see in the middle panel of the original, his name was ANDRAX, not Michael Rush.
Oh, man. That panel is incredible.
So they did some manipulation here. Clearly, he was in Barcelona in the original one. He's in Montreal in the one we saw, and they extended the panel a bit and they added some details, which is interesting. And then there's that, and here's the original version. Not quite as much talking. I did the translation for you guys because I love you guys. I want you to be able to read along there. But yeah, so he's a little more verbose in the English version as opposed to the original German, as translated into Italian. But yeah, stunning stuff that, in my opinion, doesn't need color. But I sure liked what they did with the color.
I did too. I thought it was great.
And I think the color matched it better than the original story, than the Iron Jaw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Iron Jaw's color was not good. Okay, so let's do some shout outs, shall we? I got in the wrong slideshow here. Hold on. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So, John, we didn't talk about this. Are you willing to give a shot at saying some names with us?
Let me see. It depends on because I'm looking at a much smaller screen. Show me the other one, with the actual shout out names on them.
Can you read those?
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start, and then Jacob's going to go, and then you'll go. Okay.
Okay.
So that will always be the order. All right, folks. Many of the show's listeners support the podcast by becoming Patreon members. There are several tiers of support to fit every budget. The most popular one, however, is Pack Member. That's $5 a month, and those folks get the weekly bonus show, which we call the Shadow Show, in audio and video format. They get access to the entire archive of all the episodes. So I believe there's 127 episodes of the Shadow Show now. If you join, you can get access to the archives and all future ones as well. You also get a shout out in the Shadow Show and verbal shout outs in the main show. And that is fine folks like Ben Potter, who's here. Thanks for joining us today, Ben.
Blake, last name withheld.
Brad Moore.
Brian Steed.
Brian from Marvel by the Month.
Caleb.
Dave Kennedy.
David D.
David Goodwin.
Glenn Lash.
Grace.
James Shigas.
Jared from the Swords and Scrolls podcast.
Jason W.
Jeff Fitzpatrick.
Jerry from Buffalo.
Justin the Owl.
Kyle from the Heartland.
Matt Harvey.
Melissa Watts. Thanks for joining us, Melissa. It's good to hear from
thank
you.
Melissa.
Michelle from Moonfill Comics.
Moonlit
Comics.
Mighty Morphin Blue.
My Childhood Comics.
Pat Svek.
Rob from Marvel by the Month.
David.
Tony Apple.
Ayupi.
Ayupi.
Hey, you should check out Tony Ayupi's comics. John, you'd love them.
Yeah, you would love them.
Okay.
They're great.
I'll shoot you a link.
I'll have to check them out. Yeah, for sure.
Tim Tucker.
And Worm Drive Pro. Thanks so much to all the pack members. But there's one more tier on our Patreon. The tier above all else, the celestial barbarian deities we like to call the Star Gods. And Star Gods, for $10 a month, they get all the stuff that we talked about, all the access to the Shadow Show, all the stuff that Matt has done over the years, all the audio dramas and little documentaries we've made and all sorts of stuff like that. So Star Gods get all of that. They also get really special gated stuff that we make just for them, which we had just done, right, Matt? That's released.
Yes, Skywald's Saga of the Human Gargoyles is out now for Star Gods to check out. Is the thing?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah, we had a great time talking about that. That was a good one. And so yeah, it's stuff like that. And after 6 months of being a Star God, you get to go to our Threadless shop, choose a shirt, a travel cup, whatever you want, and we will send it to your door. So yes, Star Gods are fine folks like B.A.M,
Bill Eschbach,
Brink,
Eric Hadley,
Jason Feinstein,
Jesse McFerrin,
John Walsh,
Josh Link,
MJ.
Mark Nivens.
Mark was here. Thanks for being
Yep.
here, Mark.
Michael Gianchino,
I like that.
Okay.
Ryan from Across the Bifrost, a Mighty Thor podcast.
And Russ from Taste the Pot of Dracula.
and Jackson T. Overstreet.
Ding, 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 ding. Super patron.
Super patron.
Thanks for being here, Jackson. I'm glad you got to jump on for ANDRAX.
Definitely. That was cool.
Right on. Thanks to all the folks who support us there. We appreciate that. There was no letters column because there was only one issue of the Barbarians. So what are you going to do? That's that. The rest of the story, there was no rest of the story. This is Atlas is going down in flames at this point. So it's time for final thoughts. As our guest, John, would you go first and tell us what you thought about the experience of reading The Barbarians with Jacob and Matt? Mostly about the
Honestly,
comic book.
this is. Let me tell you how I feel about Matt and Jacob. Let me be like
We can take it.
So actually, I was actually realizing that like both of them actually fit within a very specific genre, right? Which is far future fantasy, which is like a specific like kind of post-apocalyptic thing. And I actually looked them up. Like I actually looked up extra like versions of it, which would count for Commandi. It would count for Killraven. It would count for AXA, which was a British comic strip with Romero, which was largely an excuse to have a woman topless. Meltdown Man from 2000 AD, The Mighty Samson from Golden Key,
Yeah.
Aria, and there's one called Storm with Don Lawrence, which is gorgeous. If you can find anything by Don Lawrence, you should go for it. And all of those would count into this very specific. Although it's interesting because some of them involve people being sent to the future, and some of them involve just like they exist in the future. And both of these two creatures both like fall into that category. And you can tell they're initially two very different things. Like in the case of, like, what do you call it? Like in the case of ANDRAX, which is obviously the superior of the two stories. And obviously was written in a way that was meant to be in this format of like, 8, 10, 12 pages. It just has a much smoother arc. Like, and I think it's also because in this case, it was about what do you call it? We are ruined. Like, what do you call it? The future is going to be soft, and so therefore we, like, if we project ourselves forward, would be the superior creatures. You know what I mean? Like, seems to be what the message is. Like we're going to keep getting more and more civilized, and then what do you call it? What's the thing that like Conan always has problems with? Like like they're so refined to the point of like they're no longer useful to anything.
Right.
And so we're going to send an athlete, and he's going to fix everything.
Then you get kitty litter in the bathrooms for all the fur.
Right. No, totally right. And then like, and the case, and which is also kind of similar to how Ironjaw starts. Ironjaw starts with this kind of like civilization was full of pussies. We're gonna or the past was full. So we're gonna like it's important to be a barbarian when you get there, like when you get to the future. Except like in this case, in the one we read, like it was very like, we can all be friends. Let's all be friends. Like, so it was interesting to see these two things that were both kind of along the same format and with various different results. But I had a really good time. I'm glad you like tapped me for this one.
I'm glad you were game to do it. Jacob?
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like, I had a hard time with Ironjaw. There were things that I liked about it, but like with the previous issues of Ironjaw, And though a lot of my problems with it were fixed with this one, I almost feel like it went too far, at least with the last like page or two. And maybe because we don't have that context of the few pages we were obviously missing before that last page. But the immediate, like, we all love each other. We're all friends. Let's work. I don't know. It rang hollow. And that whole thing, I mean, I don't know. It definitely, the more that I think, thinking about that, it maybe was a 20-page story condensed into 10. I just think the storytelling was all over the fucking place and weird. And it was fun. And I always like seeing Marcos art, but colored Marcos art kind of hurts my soul a little bit too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't enjoy the Iron Jaw story as much as I did Andrax, which I'm pretty sure we're all going to be in the same camp in that. But Andrax was awesome. And I really loved it. And I really loved the European sensibility to it. I loved the story. I would definitely read more of that. And it's sad. I know Atlas Seaboard probably bought it at a real cut rate, but they had those stacks of stats that Andrax could have just been serialized over here in something
and
like
I think
Barbarians.
they would have done pretty well. I think it actually could have done fairly well.
I could see Andrax moving to be the main feature in a Barbarians type book, just because it's so cool and so, elevated and much, a lot better than a lot of the stuff we had going on here in 1976 or whatever we're at. So yeah, really enjoyed Andrax. Did not enjoy Iron Jaw all that much.
Yeah, I think I'm with both you guys here. Iron Jaw was weird for me because I think I've been his biggest defender throughout the season, just because my opinion is, like, if you're going to be a pig, be a pig, I'll call you a pig.
Right, and that was kind of how I felt about it. Like, at least the Fleischer may be, like, his opinions may be awful, but it is his opinions, and it is a very specific, like, the thumbprint of the artist is on everything he does.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this thing that they're doing, this redirect, whatever they're trying to do with the character, where he's bringing, jars of honey over, like Winnie the Pooh, and hanging out and just like to Attorney M beyond Prince Adam horseshit. This is not work for the character. Nobody needs this. Like, no. It was overcorrection to make up for Fleischer's character, and I just don't think that you should do that. Let the character be despicable and let it die or whatever, but just kind of skinning him as a feminist, it doesn't make any sense. I'm with Jacob. Seeing Pablo Marcos' gorgeous art unnecessarily covered in color and word balloons would just hurt my soul. So between that and the fact that they clearly had to cram a longer story into 10 pages, it was just vomiting of word balloons. Had a hard time really enjoying that one. I did enjoy, like, I don't know. But Andrax to me was just a revelation. I just had a shit-eating grin the entire time I read it. I happily dove in, found all that stuff. I'm obsessed with it. So, like, Andrax is rad. I would have liked to have seen what they'd done. I know they had, I think Hama wrote a Wolf the Barbarian story for issue 2 of this, but they obviously cut this before. If you haven't read it, John, Wolf the Barbarian is pretty damn good. It's almost
that was one of the ones I read, actually. I saw the episode and I read it.
Okay.
Love Wolf.
I love Wolf. So that would have been in issue 2, and then issue 3 we don't know, but it sounds like they bought the entire run of Andrax, like Jacob was saying, the stats from Primo, so they would have been translating those and going on, and we in America, we needed that more than ever. So it's a bummer.
Honestly, it would have been a good market, honestly, because at that point, I don't think heavy metal existed in America yet. They could easily have, like, picked and chosen, like, different European comics.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I'm talking Atlas Comics could have done this and probably run with it. It's not like Japan where they're going to a different direction. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. Yeah, and I don't know if you've checked out any of the ones we've done on the Seaboard periodicals, the magazines, the black and white magazines, but those we love. Like, when they're not dealing with the Comics Code and they're working in black and white, we find that those are vastly superior storytelling experiments than what they're doing in 4 colors. So, yeah.
They should have gone for it. I mean, it could have been like Warren. They might have had more legs.
I agree. Yeah, that's a good point. Ben says, hey, this was so much fun. Just curious, what did you guys think of the text piece between stories by David Anthony Kraft? So, it wasn't included in a scan, so I didn't stick it in here. But, I talked to Jacob before the show and just kind of said, I think we should just skip it. He doesn't really add much. he basically just kind of intimates that he is taking the book over from Larry on the next issue. Wolf is coming. I don't know. It didn't add a lot to me. Jacob, do you want to comment?
He's the best hype man. He really is.
Yeah.
You know, he's like if Stan Lee was super cool and rode a motorcycle, then, and yeah, he's great at it. He's like, Barbarians is going to be amazing. He's like, this is going to be, and I love it. And I love Kraft hyping things up, and he didn't really say much.
Yeah. And you know,
that's actually kind of melancholy, frankly, that he's like hyping it up as the ship is going down. He's like, it's like on the Titanic is going down. They're like, and tomorrow we're going to have a home, like we're going to have a show.
Yeah.
I swear that's why they brought him on, because he's so good at that, and he rallies people, and he's like, oh man, this next, you know, all that stuff we did before, it's going to be way better. You know, we're going to get back to this super cool stuff, everyone. And then, yeah, Goodman comes back from Florida and says, goodbye, everybody.
Yeah. You know, in my mind, if instead of having Friedrich back clean up for everything and try and Marvelize everything, if Kraft had been given the entire, which it shouldn't have, nobody should get that task, but the entire line of rewriting every character, Kraft would be the one that could actually write the ship and make it original, rock and roll, inventive, bold, and new. But it doesn't matter because this ship was already listing at that point.
No, and I feel like we see a lot of Kraft. I don't think Kraft can spew out assignments like Friedrich can. I have a feeling that Friedrich was the guy that was just like, okay, you got a week. Friedrich's like, all right, yeah, I'll figure it out. Oh, you want me to do another book? Yep. No, I got it. And so he spits out serviceable stuff, whereas I think Kraft really kind of, you know, hones it and would spend some time on it.
Yeah, I think you're 100%
Also,
right.
I thought like Friedrich's Iron Jaw 4 was not that bad. It actually, I thought, was a pretty decent storyline.
I liked it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I actually think like if you'd given 20 pages or something like that, maybe you could have done a better job. You know, this one is not great, but
no, this is not great. And Jackson said ANDRAX should have been in Throwing Adventure Stories. I agree 100%.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been fucking awesome.
But even fewer people would have read it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah, Ben agrees there. Yeah, I think that's our final thoughts there. So next up, our friend B.A.M, who is an old friend of mine. He's a moderator on our Discord server. You guys should get on there and chat. He's also our resident mixologist. He's one of the finest cocktail makers I've ever had the luck to come across. And he's
agreed.
Incredible mixologist. So yeah, Jacob, I don't know Ed Fedori. Never heard of him.
No clue.
Okay, we've seen Jim Craig in another book this season. And we know who Larry Lieber is. My God. So we'll be talking about The Hands of the Dragon next with Ben, and I'm excited about that. However, if you are a Patreon backer, on the Shadow Show, we're having one of our Le Free Jaws episodes where we're going to be both doing nice things. We're doing a little show and tell. So we're getting towards the end of the run here, and we have some stuff we want, you know, just little pet things that we love that we think people should check out that, you know, spread the word. So we're going to do a free jazz on our next episode. Yeah. And if you didn't see it, we did an episode on Monarch Starstalker for Marvel Premiere number 32 by Howard Chaykin that we were both pretty impressed with. So if you haven't checked out The Last Shadow Show, go check that out.
And actually, you know, guys, I just wanted to say, because I was enjoying myself, and I've been enjoying the show. I know you guys are kind of like, you know, closing it up shop and wrapping down. But I did want to pitch you guys, like, you know, there is a world across the channel. Like in terms of both, at this moment, there's a lot going on in Europe. Like in the time of the Bronze Age, there's a lot going on in 2000 AD. There's a lot going on, like, you know, and like if you guys ever pick it back up, I would suggest as a format potentially, like going to Europe and kind of seeing what's out there.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, not a bad
We'll
idea.
Clones on it if we can figure out the clones.
Yep.
Unfortunately, our clones just have single syllable vocabularies and they just tend to hump each other. But if we can ever get them worked out to be just like us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks. So we're on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Just go search for Bronze Age Monsters there. Give us a follow. We'll follow you back. We'd love to hear from you there. And as I mentioned, you can go to patreon.com/Bronze Age Monsters and become a member and get access to the 127 shadow shows and all the other stuff that's there. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'd love for you to leave a comment and like and subscribe. And if you know somebody who would have liked this conversation, share it with them. That'd mean a lot to us. Right on, John. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
thank you for having me. It was super fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad you were here.
Do you have anything to plug?
A part of what I do is I work for a DIY art space in Albuquerque. I'm part of the LOA Collective Albuquerque. We run 2 show spaces, the Alpaca off of 4th Street and the 1415 Gallery. If you are in Albuquerque and you are on the first or the second Friday, come on by and check out the work. We show new artists and things of that nature.
Sweet. I need to get to Albuquerque sometime.
Yeah, me too.
You should come by.
I always take a wrong turn and end up there, but I never stay. All right, John, it was great to talk to you. Jacob, good to see you, brother, as always.
It's good meeting you, Jacob.
Yes.
You folks out there who joined us today, thank you so much. Those of you watching in the future, be careful, and thanks for watching. All right, folks, as we always say at the end of these things, stay bronze, Pony Boy. Stay bronze.
Doug March wave.
Bye, Doug March wave.
That's what we call it now, Matt, by the way. Everyone gets it. I don't care. That's what it's called. Yeah.